Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on one of the most misunderstood yet absolutely crucial roles in the tech world, the product manager. I mean, what do they actually do all day? Let's get into it.
Okay, let's just kick things off with a dose of cold, hard reality. This quote from Marty Kagan's book, Inspired, it just nails it. We tend to think that building amazing products is about having this endless stream of brilliant ideas that all work out. The truth? It's so much messier. Most of your ideas, even the ones you're convinced are winners, are just not going to work. And that's not a bug in the system, it's a feature of genuine innovation.
So to really get a handle on this, we're going to break it down into 5 key parts. The fundamental dilemma every PM faces, their obsession with the problem, the strategic power of saying no, how they manage to lead without any real authority, and why just launching something is never, ever the end of the story.
First up, the core challenge that makes this job so incredibly unique. It's built on a fundamental contradiction that, honestly, a lot of people, even people in the tech industry, don't fully get.
So you've probably heard this phrase thrown around, CEO of the product. It sounds impressive, doesn't it? But the reality is way more complicated. A product manager has all the responsibility for whether a product sinks or swims. But, and this is the key, the engineers, the designers, the marketers, they don't actually report to the PM. This creates this fascinating leadership puzzle. How do you lead a team you don't actually manage?
In a lot of companies, this leads to the PM becoming the organization's Swiss Army knife. I love this description from one of our sources. They end up doing anything salespeople don't know how to do, and everything product developers don't want to do. The role just becomes this central hub, this catch-all, for anything and everything that doesn't have a clear owner, which can be a source of both huge value and, well, huge pressure.
Okay, so if they're not the big boss giving out orders, what is their primary job? This brings us to their core mission. A truly great product manager's job isn't to come up with all the answers. It's to fall completely in love with the problem.
Here's a classic PM interview question. And no, they don't expect you to have some elevator industry manual memorized. The point of a question like this is to see how you think. Do you ask clarifying questions? Is this an office building or a residential one? What about peak hours, like rush hour? They want to see you take this big, ambiguous problem and start breaking it down into smaller, solvable pieces.
And this way of thinking, it's not just random. It can be super structured. You have frameworks like the circles method here, which give you a repeatable process so you're not just guessing. You start by really comprehending the situation. You identify the customer, you spell out their needs, and only then, after all that work, do you even start to think about solutions.
This leads us to a really critical distinction. The PM's home base is the problem space. Their entire job is to become the world's foremost expert on the customer's need. The solution space, the code, the pixels, how to actually build the thing, that belongs to the brilliant engineers and designers. So to put it simply, a great PM defines the what and the why, and that empowers their team to totally own the how.
Now this brings us to a PM's most powerful and often most difficult tool. Because once you truly understand the problem space, you'll see 100 different ways you could possibly solve it. Here's the catch. You can't do them all.
This quote from Intercom just hits so hard. Saying no to a bad idea, that's easy. The truly hard decisions, the ones that actually define your entire strategy, are saying no to great ideas. And you might ask, why would you do that? Because you have limited time and limited resources. You have to focus all that energy on the 1 or 2 things that will make the biggest difference right now.
And this is how they make those tough calls. They shift the whole team's focus from output to outcomes. Output is just shipping features. It's busy work. It's easy to track, but it doesn't mean you're actually succeeding. An outcome, on the other hand, is a measurable change in customer behavior or a real business result. So a great PM stops asking, what can we build? And starts asking, what outcome are we trying to achieve?
Okay, so you've got a strategy. You've decided what to say no to. But how on earth do you get everyone to go along with it when you're not their boss? This is where the real magic happens.
Yeah. This is the question that every single product manager wakes up with. It's the ultimate test of leadership. When you don't have direct authority, you can't just rely on your title. You have to earn that team's trust and respect over and over again every single day.
So how do they do it? They use a whole different set of tools, the tools of influence. Instead of giving orders, they build relationships. Instead of pushing opinions, they bring data. They serve as the diplomat, the mediator, the tiebreaker. And maybe, most importantly, they are constantly telling the story, articulating the why behind the work, painting a picture of the future so compelling that everyone wants to pull in the same direction.
All right, let's move on to our final pillar. Imagine you've done it all. You focused on the right problem. You said no to all the distractions. You influenced your team to build and ship an amazing product. Well, guess what? Your job is not over, not even close. In many ways, it's just getting started.
Put yourself in this nightmare scenario. You're the PM for a movie ticketing app. You walk in Monday morning, and you see that bookings fell off a cliff, a 70% drop over the weekend. The business is on fire. So what do? Do you panic? Do you start blaming the engineers?
No, a great PM doesn't panic. They get methodical. They build something called an issue tree, mapping out every single possible cause. Is it internal, like a bug in our last release? Or is it external, like a competitor's huge promotion or a major holiday we forgot about? They go down each branch, systematically using data to eliminate possibilities until they isolate the true root cause. Then, and only then, do they start brainstorming a solution.
Because that's what it all comes back to. From navigating that chaotic catch-all role to diagnosing a full-blown crisis, product management is about a relentless, structured, and passionate focus on solving meaningful problems. It's about leading through influence, making the hard choices, and understanding that the work is never truly done. Great products aren't just built, they are nurtured. That is the truth about product management.